Hello, I am back, this time in Creator Sim, making Totally Spies. Some of you might not know who they are. It's an American TV show, but it did air in the UK, so I'm guessing most people will know who they are. I say that like everyone is either from the UK or America. But it's a TV show that I used to watch when I was younger. It was one of my favourites. I think it was maybe 2000 or the early 2000s is when it first started airing, and I think it ran for a really long time actually. I didn't see the last seasons because, you know, I did growing up, so when I was an adult I stopped watching it, but when it was on for the first time, the first few series, I did watch that, and yeah, so I thought, well, why not make Totally Spies on The Sims? But as usual, I mean, you can see what I'm doing, so I'm not really going to bother talking about the actual video at all. Instead, I'm just gonna chat some shit like I usually do. Now, I'm in a bit of a conundrum because I kind of thought with a thumbnail showing Totally Spies, there is a chance, although there's even more of a chance that no one will watch this video, but there is a small chance that young viewers might see that and think, oh, maybe I'll watch it because it's got Totally Spies in it if they watch it. And as I've mentioned before, this channel, you know, some videos are okay, but some are really not for little ears. So I think what I might do is try and pre-warn people, because there is a story that I recently remembered that I would like to share, because it's really embarrassing, but it's also incredibly crude, so it's not for the light-hearted, and it's not for those little ears. So if you are one of those people who is quite small and shouldn't really be listening to profanity or stories that involve relations, then go ahead and turn this off, because this is not a story for your ears today, little one. So, yeah, this story in no way relates to creating Totally Spies, but I just don't really see the point in talking about what I'm doing when you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you anyway. This is one of the most embarrassing stories of my life. So I was about, I think, 19. No, I must have been younger than that. I must have been more like 17. And so my parents are divorced. And I was about this age when my mum and my stepdad first got together. And they had my sister. So at this point, they had been together a little while, so maybe I was 18 actually, because they had my sister at this point. She was only a tiny baby, and my parents were going out. I call them my parents. They were going out, and my stepdad's parents, so my grandparents-in-law? No, I think that only counts if it's... Anyway, my stepdad's parents, they came round to our house to look after the baby, and I was there as well. I don't know why they didn't just leave me with the baby. I probably, knowing me at the time, I probably just flat out refused, because I was such a little shit at that point. But I remember I was watching TV, and it wasn't MTV, but it was some kind of music channel TV show, and at the time, like, it was like the kind of program, the kind of channel where you would see like some kind of version of Sun, Sex and Suspicious Parents, you know, that kind of thing. So there was swearing and stuff. Anyway, his parents arrived, they came and they sat in the living room. I was there, little baby was in the cot. And this bit isn't really relevant, but just to paint a picture of who these people are. They're very well-to-do, they're in their 70s, they're very, very religious. They volunteer at this church, and they go to church like 3 times a week. They're really, really nice. They're just really nice, friendly, you know, church-going people. So anyways, we're all sat down on the sofa, just having a chat, because it was the first time I'd ever met them, so we were just, you know, getting to know each other. And after about an hour of talking, I noticed in the corner of my eye that the TV is still on. But the difference is 9 o'clock has passed, which is the time in the UK where they then start showing, you know, things like swear words and things that are a bit more, you know, mature. And on this programme, it was something to do with teens being on holiday, and the video that was being shown was a video of a blowjob competition. Nothing was censored. So there was a row of about 7 guys with their cocks out, and there was a girl going round in a line just sucking them all off. And as I clocked that, I didn't know whether my stepdad's parents had noticed that. But one thing I also noticed was that the remote to change the channel was on the other sofa next to my stepdad's mum. So I was kind of in a situation where I thought, okay, either I make it obvious that this is on TV and I go and take the remote and turn it off, or I just ignore it. So I went with the latter. And I don't know whether they clocked it, because what ran through my head after this was possibly that they either didn't notice, in which case that's best case scenario. It was very difficult to not notice. But the worst thing was, I kind of thought, well, if they did notice and they had the remote, it was obviously the first time they met me, so maybe they thought they were being polite, because maybe they thought, oh, well, she clearly really wanted to watch this because she put it on the TV, so we just won't say anything. So there we were, me and 2 70-something-year-old couple were just getting to know each other with a baby in a basket next to me, watching a blowjob competition on TV. So if you're ever in a situation where you've got to meet your girlfriend's parents or your boyfriend's parents or vice versa or anything like that, don't worry, have faith, because there is no way it could be worse than watching a blowjob competition with your church-going stepfather's parents. So I hope that makes you feel better if you are nervous. When I was younger, I remember I was always a bit embarrassed about things that would come on the telly, even just like with my mum. Like if a sex scene came on, I was out the door. I just found it all very embarrassing, just all too much. And I mean, to be honest, with my mum, we never even had the talk. We never had the sex chat because I didn't really need to. I mean, we're quite lucky in England, and I guess, well, I mean, I didn't grow up in any other country, so that's why I say in England, but we're quite lucky in that we do get sex education, and it's progressed since I was a kid even, and I think it's brilliant because it goes in like different layers. So now they actually start sex education when kids are as young as 5. Now, you might hear that and you might think that's awful, they shouldn't be doing that, but it's not quite what you think. So they have it in stages. So when you're really little, the kind of sex education you get isn't things like, this is how you have sex. It's things like, teaching kids about their body and saying things like, sex education is the equivalent of being like, okay, so people don't touch you there, and, this is your body. And I think that's really good that kids are taught that now. I'm guessing obviously every parent has probably had that conversation with their young child anyway, but it's just nice to see that it's being recognised when it comes to, where they go to school and where they go to nursery and things. And then when I was a kid, you had sex education in year 5, which would make you about 9. And that sex education was about you should start wearing deodorant. You might get armpit hair. You need to start washing every day if you're not already doing that kind of thing. And then it was kind of a repeat of that in year 6 when you were about 10. And then throughout secondary school, I'm pretty sure we had sex education every single year with the whole, here's a banana kind of thing. So overall, I actually think the sex education in the UK is really good, because I think it's a good thing that kids are taught these things from, being really young. Because as soon as you hear the term sex education, you just assume, well, some people just assume that they mean they're actually being taught about sex. But sex education covers it's a big spectrum. It covers self-care, bodily functions, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's really good. Actually, it's a good thing that I'm kind of ending this little chat here, because we find ourselves on Clover, and This is the one that I am the least happy about. She did not turn out the way I wanted her to. I think I ended up, I kept the socks on her. And at the time when I was doing this, I thought, yeah, that looks alright. Now that I look at it, it looks fucking awful. Why did I not just take the socks off? I don't know what I was trying to do. I mean, I think the red look is okay. She's the only one I didn't go for the same colour scheme all over. But I don't know what I was thinking. You don't wear over-the-knee socks with denim shorts. I mean, if it was a skirt, maybe you'd get away with it. Not a denim one, but, you know. But yeah, I'm not so happy with how she turned out. So, as usual, the reason why I'm saying this is because if you see this and think, oh, that's shit, don't worry about it. I already know, so don't even worry. But, yeah, we're getting towards the end of the video now, so I should probably say a few words to summarise. Well, not summarise, but just to say bye. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Bye-bye.